Welcome to a brand new episode of ReconCinemation. I'm your host, John Diner.
I'm David Munchak.
I'm Brent Hutchins.
And this is the podcast that takes a look back at some of our favorite films from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. And we're checking out how they hold up today. And we've got a big episode. It's our finale for the calendar year 2023. So this is wrapping it all up.
Woo, we made it.
And 2023. What a year. Here we go. Is this
Yeah.
a prime,
Oh my.
This is a prime number year? Let me see.
Yeah. Fuck you,
I think it
2023.
is.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah.
That's what no, just kidding.
I'm on board with that. I'm on board
Just
with that.
kidding. Just kidding.
It's not a prime number. It's divided. You can divide it by 7, but 289 times. So here we go.
Well, you didn't know that off the top of your head, David?
I should have.
It felt like I divided it 9,000. How many times did you say? What's the math on that?
289.
289. All right. Yep.
And I should have just, instead of looking it up, I probably should have just quickly ran through every number I knew, divided it into that. Doesn't matter. Now we know the answer.
I'm impressed either way.
And that's the end of the show.
There we
Thanks
go.
for tuning in, everybody. Now we are. This is our finale for 2023. We're wrapping everything up, but we're going to be going straight into 24. And we're not looking at a particular film this week. This is a special episode. We're going to take a look back at the year 2023 and talk about some movies that the three of us, kind of watched for the first time, whether it's something new, something older, and then a handful of movies that we're looking forward to seeing for the first time next year in 2024. But before we get to that, I just want to say thank you to you guys for having we've had a great year on our lineup. We've had a lot of fun Noises Off was a big one, shockingly for us, with our special guest Joe Seta.
That was fun.
In the spring, we look back at Evil Dead 2, Heat, Extreme Prejudice. We had a crazy summer lineup where we looked back at Megaforce and One Crazy Summer and UHF and Dead Heat, on top of Hard Ticket to Hawaii. Don't you dare forget that one. Rolling right into the fall and Shocktober, we took a look at the next entries of Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Halloween, as well as The Exorcist, and a look back at William Friedkin. And now we're in the holiday season. We've made it through. We took a look back at Trading Places. That's right. And While You Were Sleeping, and that brings us right up until today.
Is that right?
Does it now?
How
Sure
about
does.
that? Wow.
Yeah.
This is okay. How you
So
doing?
here we go.
Welcome
So
to the end of the year. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year.
Year. Yes.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year coming up. I guess let's talk about some movies that we all took a look back at this year on our own and didn't necessarily cover on the show, or maybe we did. Let's see. So I'll kick it off. Early on this movie, right before the Oscars, I went back and checked out the original All Quiet on the Western Front, the 1930 film, and I was blown away by it. Directed by Louis Milestone, it was absolutely incredible. I thought in a lot of ways was superior to the 2022 film, and it blew me away that it was the quality of the camera work, the action. Like, it did not feel like a movie from 1930. It really felt like something from somewhere within our present day. I wouldn't say it's necessarily exactly like action is done now, but certainly you can see where Steven Spielberg got some influences from that film in particular. So if you haven't checked it out, which I imagine a lot of people listening probably haven't, go back and look at All Quiet on the Western Front, 1930. So that's the first one for me. David, how about you?
I'm gonna go with for me, I decided to just pick all my favorite crowd pleasers for 2023, anything I've seen for the first time. So a lot of them are probably new-ish, but I wanted to make sure I got one in from our season of recording the show. So of that kind of in that Venn diagram, UHF, that's the comedy, silly, It led to a lot of discussion of Weird Al's career, the Weird movie with Daniel Radcliffe, and so having never seen it fully all at once, it was a pleasure to do. And it's of course for what it is, with the budget, with Weird Al's acting ability, with who's involved. It's not a great cinema, but like I just enjoyed it so much, and I enjoyed covering it. And as for all, so consider all the first time watches for me, which is most of what we do on the show. This is probably my top of our season for me, and only because of all the things that's connected to it, for again, comedy, Weird Al, the career, the decades worth, and the talent involved. So UHF, love you. Thanks a lot.
Nice. That's great, David. I'm going to be coming back sort of to that one as well. But Brent, what do you got first up?
I like David. I'm going to go a little. Well, it's not hard to go more contemporary than 1930, but I am gonna stick with crowd pleasers from probably within this decade. And so the first one that I have is one that I saw at the theater. Most of these are ones that I saw at the theater. And Knock at the Cabin, which was M. Night's latest,
Yes.
which
Daring
I found.
M. Night.
Well, yeah,
like him.
he's real hit or miss, and I feel like for a while there he was mostly miss, but I think he's come around a little bit, and more recently he's had a couple movies that have been pretty decent again, and I feel like this is one of those that I enjoyed. It wasn't too, I think M. Night for a long time fell into his own trap of twistorama, and this one was less of that and more just kind of compelling storytelling. And I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Nice. I'm actually looking forward to that one. I've been soured on M. Night for quite some time, but that one did look really good. It sounded good too. Everyone I know that saw it really liked it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Dave Bautista was really, really good in it. And I mean, I find him entertaining. Like, I've enjoyed his like comedic stuff, and I've seen a little bit more of his dramatic stuff. But in this, like, I thought, for me, this is maybe the best platform for him to have really shown his talent. Like, this was pretty good.
Yeah, he's come a long way, but you really should check out Batista versus Triple H from WrestleMania 21. That's a stellar performance.
I might have to
put that in my notes here.
Can I fire that up on Peacock as of this recording or not?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
I might have to get in there.
Go to WrestleMania season 21. That's where it is.
The season 21. Perfect. I'm with you, Brent. It was a great part for Bautista. Like, it's a really well done movie, and that was a great cast. I like that movie.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in it was great. He really surprised me, though.
Yeah.
The circling back to your pick, David, number 2 on my list was Weird, the Al Yankovic story, which I saw for the first. It's a 2021 film, but David, you've been telling me for a while to watch it. I didn't, and then finally, when we decided to do UHF, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it back to back with UHF, and it blew me away. It was hilarious and genius, directed by Eric Appel, I think is how you pronounce it. But he just did an amazing job. And obviously Weird Al he wrote the film, was very deeply involved in it. And to take the real life story and spin it in such a nonsense direction of just fictionalizing based off of, it was brilliant, from Madonna as the evil girlfriend who they never dated.
That was such a fun play, though.
the barbecue scene or the swimming pool scene in the backyard where all the like 80s comic actors and crazy comedians showed up. It was really genius. I can't recommend it enough. And Daniel Radcliffe is, I really hadn't seen anything he'd done besides Harry Potter, and
no kidding.
He is incredible, just an amazing actor, and did such a great job. And now I'm definitely going to watch, Swiss Army Man and a whole bunch of other stuff that he's done.
Yeah, dude, I'll write you a list of movies that you should check out that are his. Swiss Army Man's on there, but The Jungle is one. He's great in that. Guns Akimbo is really
Guns
good.
Akimbo.
Horns
Oh,
is
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Like
Love that.
he's phenomenal, man. Like that guy surprises me every time he performs. Like he's always just doing something really great.
It's awesome that he's turned his career from such the blockbuster, world to just doing the movies he wants to do, and he's so good at it. So,
Well, and the fact that he was able to, I mean, I guess all of them have gotten away from it, but I think coming out of Harry Potter, the biggest concern, right, is like you're always going to be remembered as Harry Potter. And I think that happens, but like his performances are so good that you quickly forget it and like you get completely enveloped by like the performance that he's giving at any given time.
yeah, like when I think of him, when I say the name Daniel Radcliffe, I actually don't think of Harry Potter anymore. Like the Weird Al jumps out at me. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just if he lives to be 90 years old, like Harry Potter will be just like the first thing they say. But whatever he's gonna do is there's too much. He's gonna have too much, like he's just gonna do whatever he wants. And
Yeah.
he's very charming and just good at kind of everything he decides to do.
David, what about you? What's number two?
Yeah, this isn't, and these aren't really ranked, but to spin around, and I've said this on the show before, and you've heard me say it, but The Nice Guys, with Ryan Gosling and Russell
Solid.
Crowe, written and directed by Shane Black. Like this is like to me like a Shane Black redemption movie, like because he's too much of a macho fucking weirdo on a lot of his early stuff that it's just kind of distasteful in a lot of ways. Even though like a lot of the stuff he does is like like he's talented either way. I just don't necessarily care for maybe his point of view. But the Nice Guys is like an incredible like buddy comedy, set in the 70s. That it's the one movie that like no one saw, but it's the one movie that's probably most deserving of a sequel, just because of the chemistry of the cast. And I just had such a good time with that. And I had been meaning to see it for years and years, and finally, right, I think at the beginning of this year, is when I had finally tuned into it, and was just so pleased with it. And I felt bad for sleeping on it for so long. But again, another like kind of a great, just another great comedy, like modern comedy that really works and pretty much at all levels without a lot of not a lot of criticism for it, that would detract from the enjoyment of the film. So the Nice Guys was highly recommended, and I recommend it to someone who's like, oh, I want to watch a comedy. I'm like, go watch The Nice Guys, go ahead, like if you haven't seen it. And
Totally agree.
and that's a couple people have seen it because I had said like, no, you need, if you just want a comedy, like this is it, this is the good one. So yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I saw that. I think I watched it last year for the second time, and it is top 3 buddy cop movie for me. I mean, everything you said, the chemistry, Gosling and Russell Crowe just balance each other out so great, and it's right in Shane Black's wheelhouse in that the crime and it is also kind of set at Christmas, right? There's a little Christmas there.
Oh yeah, I guess
very loosely. LA Christmas is not like Christmas everywhere else. So.
Yeah.
Unless it's Die Hard. Sorry.
Yeah. There you go. Yep.
Want to make sure we clarify.
All right, Brent, what about you?
Yeah, I'm sticking with current stuff. I'm also going comedy, but and I'm going to throw this one out there. I'm not ashamed of it, but I'm going to say Dungeons and Dragons. And if you guys didn't see Dungeons and Dragons, that shit is hilarious. And I was completely surprised by it. I mean, I walked in with no expectations, which might be the best way to do it, but I have a feeling most of the people that have seen it have all been really, really pleased with it. But I walked out like totally having a great time. Like it was really funny. The cast is really good. Chris Pine is fantastic. Like everybody does a really great job. I think they do. I'm not I never played a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons, but I feel like they did a good job of like incorporating some of the lore, but also like making it totally approachable for people who had no background in it at all. So I think definitely worth checking out. One of my sneaky favorites for 23 for sure.
My,
They'd
my
almost
favorite character was Jornathan.
Jonathan. Yeah.
I think it was Jarnathan.
Jonathan, yes.
Sorry. I've only seen the movie like 4 times because I loved it so much. So,
And
um,
you don't have to be a D&D person to totally enjoy
No,
that movie.
not
If
at
you
all.
are, then you get it a little bit more, but it's great.
yeah, it's not like there's not a lot of conceit and like anything to the game, but the things that if you are part of the game, there's so much to like for it. But separate, just a perfectly well done 3-act adventure
Yeah, it really is.
comedy with a great charismatic cast. Like I wish more people saw it because they would have anyone who didn't see it, like if they saw it, they'd probably really like it if they like
Yeah.
sort of any kind of action or any kind of comedy. But of course, it's part of the brand of the name is a stigma in a certain degree. So I can
Right.
see why audiences sort of avoided it to a certain degree, but I don't think anyone who's ever seen it really regrets it.
Yeah.
No, most of the people that I talk to when it comes up, everybody's enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I agree. There's probably a little bit of a stigma, but I think
Yeah.
it's I guess I understand, but it's undeserved,
Yeah.
there's, I
It
think
looks like
just
nerd
sort of
stuff. It's nerd stuff.
right.
Yeah,
But
but it's not.
it's
It's
so
not.
good. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's so well done.
Good choice. Good choice.
Uh, when we look back at the career of William Friedkin, I went back and watched Sorcerer for the first time, and
Oh.
I blew me away. The 1977 film, very much a troubled production and kind of a disastrous impact on his career, but it's a movie that in today's world, people have come back around and have started appreciating, and I guess I'm one of them. And because I always stayed away from it because I always thought it was a horrible movie, which it's absolutely not. Starring Roy Scheider, sort of based on Wages of Fear. It's really the intensity and the just the energy from that movie is really nobody makes a film like Friedkin. It just his films feel so different than other directors. And say what you will about his issues and his behavior, which was not great, and we don't condone that. But this movie was really definitely worth watching and re-examining. Highly recommend it, and a great Roy Scheider performance.
Oh yeah. Well, we cover that on the show, right?
Yep.
So
We
don't forget
mentioned
to
it.
check
Yeah.
that out. Don't forget to check that out on
Check out the Exorcist episode in the
Yeah.
archives. ReconCinemation.com.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, moving on to my 3 of 5. I get to experience this with John. A modern movie that came out this year. Elizabeth Banks's Cocaine Bear. What a fun time at the movies. I wouldn't exactly it's almost an ensemble movie, but it's just there's a lot of disparate like storylines happening with crossover, but like a lot of great talent, and a lot of just fun moments and over the top things, a lot of shocking, like gasping guffaw moments visually, great, like just the way it's cut, the way it's presented, and it never takes itself so seriously. I had such a good time with that one, and I'm just glad that movie exists. It's like I understand it's loosely it's stealing from a real life thing that
It's
they're
true story.
it's fictionalizing an event that occurred with a bear snorting cocaine or whatever, or eating cocaine. But what a just some of the stuff you wouldn't even expect, and I'm just so glad to see Elizabeth Banks like in that realm, because she, to me, is always first and foremost a comedic actress, and to have her direct, I love seeing that, and it was just a really good time for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was I had so much fun with that. I saw it in the theater and my wife and I were just like on the floor laughing so like all the way through it, and then we watched it together and it was still great. And my favorite is I'm biased, but the Matthew Rhys cameo in the beginning. There
Absolutely.
you go.
you got but I mean,
Yeah.
what a cast. Matthew Rhys, his wife Carrie
Yeah.
Russell, and just a who's who of people in it. And I just
Yeah.
what a fun time.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Ray Liotta, of course, one of his
Yeah,
R.I.P.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right, Brent, what about you? Number 3.
This one I saw more recently. as a matter of fact, like just a few nights ago, but it quickly hit one of my favorites of the year, and that is Past Lives, which, if you have not heard about it, it's a South Korean movie by a director named Celine Song. And it's kind of a story about two young kids who have a crush and kind of fall in love, but get separated by a move, but like their story of kind of keeping in touch and how that connection never really comes to fruition, but they always have like this love for each other throughout their lives. And it's a really, really beautiful story. I mean, it's really, really good. So definitely recommend checking that out, especially if you've ever been a person who's loved and lost. Like, this is exactly kind of perfect for that.
Oh, and that has Greta Lee in it, right? Like
That's right. She's
she
the lead. She's the lead, and she's fantastic.
she's great. I love her
Yep.
on Morning Show. I
Yep.
first got to know her, I think, on Russian Doll. She's a great talent, and so that's cool. I didn't even hear that movie. I'm absolutely going to get on board on that. So
Yeah,
And
it was
that's streaming, right?
I rented it streaming, but it's not. I have to imagine it's one that will show up
Mhm.
eventually for free on streamers. But it came out earlier this year, and I've kind of been anticipating it, and I got a little impatient. Was like, man, I really have been wanting to watch this. So I watched it this last
Nice.
week, and
oh, very
I'm
cool.
glad I did.
All right. Well, my next pick is going back to the 70s. 1979, Paul Schrader written and directed Hardcore.
Oh,
It's a very dark film, very kind of similar in tone to like Rolling Thunder, but it stars George C. Scott. It is who's a man on the hunt for his daughter, who, while on a Christian religious retreat to Los Angeles, goes missing, and he spends years trying to track her down and getting into the seedy underworld of the adult film industry and adult entertainment industry. And it's very intense, very dark. But if you like George C. Scott and if you like Paul Schrader films, like it's a must see. George C. Scott is incredible, and I just realized how much of a forgotten actor he is. He had so many amazing roles through the 60s and 70s and into the early 80s that just isn't talked about anymore. And this is one, but highly recommend it. It's dark. You got to be ready for it, but it's really, really amazing.
oh, very cool. Well, going into my next one, which should probably be no surprise to either one of you, at all, but a Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Ooh, my God.
I still haven't seen it yet. I'm
It's
coming
available
around
to
to it.
stream right now as we record on one of your favorite streamers. And just mind blowing. Mind blowing. I mean, I thought the first one was and it was, and it is, but this takes the first movie to the next level, and in innovation of design and presentation, and the animation is just incredible. It's no Shark Tale, but it is an incredible film that I honestly, it's one of the few films I saw in the theater this year. Um, and I had a hard time driving home because I couldn't really process what I had seen. I mean, it was just that good. And that's just me loving this kind of movie, loving these characters. Greta Lee also in that movie as the voice of Lila. But yeah, just I don't know, just boy, go see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's everything. If you like animation, like, and if you like superheroes, great, like awesome, like everything checks a lot of boxes for me, and the care and love and attention to making something that, of course, is superheroes, which everyone's tired of, and it's of a 50-year-old proper, well, 60-year-old. Spider-Man's 60 years old this year, or 61 years old this year, as a character. Just a great time at the movies, and I just recently watched it once it got released on the streamer, that it's on, and fell in love all over again. So uh, get on it.
I mean, I hear those. I saw the first Spider-Verse film, and I have not seen this one yet. But
Yeah.
I mean, it just sounds like those are kind of blowing away all the other superhero stuff that's out there. They're just working on a different level than the current, Marvel and DC stuff.
Yeah, it's just, I
Spider Verse
mean,
was great for
you
sure.
you like that stuff there, Brent?
I
What do you think?
I I I love, yeah, no, I think the Spider-Verse movies are fantastic. As a matter of fact, it sort of leads into my next movie,
Ooh,
which is also an animated movie based off graphic novels, and it is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which
yeah,
which I would say is kind of a kindred spirit to Spider-Verse because it takes kind of the same aesthetic liberties that Spider-Verse established and kind of creates its own sort of unique animated style and look, which I found completely captivating and fascinating. But the movie is great. Like,
yeah,
if you have not seen this, I got a chance to go check this out at the theater with my son, and we both loved it. The voice acting is top notch. Everybody in it kills it. The cast is huge, and it is uh I loved Spider-Verse, but for me, for this year, like I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is my top spot for animation. It was
nice.
just so entertaining the entire way through. The action was great. The story makes complete sense. You totally get connected to these characters. Like, it's really, really worth checking out.
Hard
Wow.
agree. I did watch it. Well, I watched it on streaming recently, and I was an original TMNT fan when I was a kid. That was one of my cartoons as
Yeah.
a child in the 80s. I saw the first two movies in the theater, the live action ones. I
Yeah.
stepped away from that for pretty much the duration, knowing that there was about 10 iterations since, for every generation, which generation would be like every 3 years.
Yeah.
But there was tons of iterations of Ninja Turtles. But yeah, I think that style was so compelling just to see in the trailer. And it's like the original Spider-Verse gave them permission to just do what makes sense, make and go crazy.
Yeah,
And
think outside the box when it comes to like just the style and look of the animation and the aesthetic of the film, which I think is, I mean, just completely visually stunning. Like, in both cases, like Spider-Verse set the
yeah,
bar super high, and I
yeah,
think that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was able to get pretty close. I think Spider-Verse probably still ultimately, like, is the leader in that. I just think as a whole package, like, I was really, really surprised and really enjoyed the latest Turtles movie for sure.
yeah. Turtles fulfills the sort of the promise that the original Spider-Verse gave us. Like, you
Yeah.
can do this. And then
Yeah.
here's Turtles doing it. And again, I know, and it's a big property and whatever, but it doesn't detract from the excellent story, like script and voice work that accompany an amazing like visual style. Like, just yeah, I'm a big fan of that as well.
Right. And in both cases, like, the storytellers obviously are very attached to the material. Like,
Yeah,
they want this to be good. They're not just like going through their paces, and it's not like paint by numbers. It's really, like, it's handled with care. And, I think they really are paying attention to the craft and trying to make something, more than just a cartoon, right? Like,
yeah,
it's really, really good, both of them.
yeah. Excellent choice.
You guys are all about the modern movies. I guess I gotta
Yeah,
stay
yeah, no,
present.
we figured you
So,
were gonna keep it, and back in
70s
the day.
drug
we don't we
users.
don't
yeah.
we don't get to talk about modern movies at all, John, but I'm glad you still living in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, buddy. Like, it's all good,
Yeah,
it's all good,
take
but
the
this
opportunity.
is our
I
shot.
gotta come to this decade once in a while. But for my fifth pick, I am going back to the 70s, 1976. John Cassavetes' The Killing of a Chinese Bookie, which has been on my list. I think my uncle, when I was still in high school, like hand wrote a list out of like 20 movies I have to see. I haven't seen all of them. Killing of a Chinese Bookie was on that list. I finally saw it and absolutely loved it. I really haven't explored Cassavetes enough, and What an incredible director and a writer as well. Ben Gazzara is just
Oh,
amazing in this film. It's very, very low budget, like all Cassavetes films, very intimate, character driven. A lot of it shot in close up, and just really the tone, the energy level is amazing. I can't recommend that one enough. Check it out whenever you can.
will do. Dang. All right. Yeah, that looks great. This looks fun, or not fun,
Yeah.
but it looks like a really good movie.
It's
Looks like
certainly
a
not
good
fun.
roll in
I
the
wouldn't
hay.
say it's fun.
It's this is like a fun time in the movies. You got to see the killing of a Chinese bookie. It's hilarious. Good rec. Okay, I'm on that. I guess it's my turn for my fifth of the what I saw this year. A slightly controversial pick for some people in the room, but I like it because it is a victory lap. It's a more modern movie. Came out in 2022. You guys definitely both saw it. But I like it because of what it's trying to. It's service the artist in charge. But 2022's The Fablemans. Steven Spielberg has had an incredible career, changed cinema forever, put his heart and soul into every character of all of his films, and then decides, I'm going to tell this story, a semi-autobiographical film of his life. It's not him specifically, it's not his parents specifically, but he does the Spielberg thing in every scene, and I think it sings. It's like the opening of Lincoln, I think is the most laughable opening sequence of any goddamn movie. It should be made fun of and lambasted, but it's better than I could ever pull off. And then The Fablemans, just if he wants to tear at heartstrings, which is the thing he does, that's what The Fablemans does for me. I'm not saying it's perfect, but for me, it hit a lot of notes that I've enjoyed so many of his films. For him to tell a personal story without using a lot of allegory, the allegory of his sci-fi characters and or big characters or epic story, and just telling it sort of a simple kind of, filmmaker navel gazing kind of look. I just thought it was I well worth the journey. I think I applaud his victory lap. I'm glad it was made, and it was just something I saw right as we were preparing for Oscar season this year. So I'm just glad I saw it, and it was just something that stands out for something to see in these recent times, and that works for me.
I'm not sure why it's controversial, unless it's because it wasn't made pre 1980 for John. But I love The Fablemans. As a child who very much fell in love with movies and the art of making film and things like that, like this, very autobiographical for Spielberg. But I think for any young film lover who wanted to go out there and play with cameras and have an imagination and tell stories, I think that that movie certainly can find an audience with that type of that group, right? John, I know probably has some other thoughts on certain things, I suppose, but I thought overall, I'm with you, man. Fablemans was great.
I'll just say David Lynch was fantastic.
Okay.
If that's your takeaway, I'll take it. That's fine with me.
Brent, what do you got for your last pick?
Well, let's see. I couldn't get out of this list without, we're here to celebrate filmmakers, so might as well celebrate some of the filmmakers in this very group. And my fifth pick here is No One Will Save You.
Whoa,
dude, no lie, that movie is probably it is definitely one of my favorite for this year. The movie's great. Like it's some of you are very familiar and within this group of what this movie's about. But for those who have not seen it yet, I fully recommend you run and check it out on Hulu. It's an awesome movie. It's a great movie. It's a very much a home invasion kind of alien twist movie. Very good. Really, the thing that sticks out most for me, and the reason that I like it as much as I do, is the performance by Caitlin Dever is next level. I mean, she is so good in this movie, and I've been kind of a peripheral fan of hers for a while. She's been in a number of things where she does a great job. But this is, I mean, just a whole nother level, like above and beyond. And she is just unbelievably good in this. I mean, to be like fully transparent, like this movie has, I think, John, you can correct me on the stats here, but maybe 3 lines of dialogue, and she
Yeah.
carries the entire thing with her performance alone. And it is really, really compelling, and she's very, very good. And
She's incredible. Yep, totally agree.
and it's absolutely one of my favorites from the year for sure. For
Nice.
sure, for sure.
That is very sweet of you, Brent.
Well, I don't think you had shit to do with it, John, but no, just kidding, dude. Absolutely. I love this movie. You
Maybe
did
a
awesome.
little, maybe I had a hand or two in that one.
Yeah,
but,
you definitely
I'll never
did.
tell.
You definitely did. And I love it. Like, it's really good. You did awesome. This is a great movie.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I'm just going to throw out a couple just real quick honorable mentions because I had a really hard time coming up with only 5. I really spent a fair amount of time this year going through films I hadn't seen before that have been on some lists of mine over the years. And I also went down this Jeff Bridges exploration, and I'll throw out 2 that I absolutely loved. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, which is a kind of caper film, also really starring Clint Eastwood, and it's one of Jeff Bridges' like really, really early films, I believe 1972. Just
70s.
Yeah, 70s, shocking, right? Fantastic movie, highly recommend that. And also, I'm going to jump all the way to 1981.
Whoa, slow down,
Whoa,
buddy.
careful.
Look out.
Slow down.
Another Jeff Bridges film called Cutter's Way, and it's directed by Yvonne Passer. It's a neo-noir film, really, really interesting, beautiful film. And John Hurd, who, yes, the father from Home Alone, who's been in other films like After Hours, and probably the greatest performance I've seen him do. Just I've never seen him with the energy level he's got in that movie, and such an interesting character. Highly recommend those. But yeah, but it's hard, right? It's hard to like narrow it down to just 5 movies we really like. But we can stay on this podcast for like 6 more hours and keep going.
I'm not going to go with any honorable mentions, but Brent, what else was like resonating with you?
Well, I agree. It was kind of hard, but also like I was mostly trying to stick with more recent movies, obviously. Like mostly because I feel like, I mean, I don't think about going back to older movies and watching them as often as I probably should, unless we're doing them for the podcast. So like most of the stuff that I watch is more contemporary on my own time. One thing that I did also watch this year, it's not old, but it's 2020, which for me was old enough, was Palm Springs, which I don't know if you guys had seen that, but it definitely was on my honorable mentions. It's, kind of a riff on, I would say, Groundhog Day sort of style movie, but I thought it was really good as well. And I know it got a lot of attention when it first came out, and I had always planned on kind of checking it out, but it just never really happened. And I didn't see it until about midway through this year, finally. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Solid film. Love Palm Springs.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
All right, so now let's switch gears a little bit and let's take a quick look. We're going to go around the horn again, looking at 5 films that we are looking forward to seeing next year in 2024. I'll kick it off. I've been trying to get more into film noir and catch up on those films. So I'm told one of the greatest film noir films out there is a film called Raw Deal, and that is not the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. It's the 1948 Anthony Mann film, which I've been really excited about, and I'm going to try to bump that up the list and watch it as soon as possible.
Oh, wonderful. Nice. Well, since I will go out of order. Not that I have an order, but to stay in that noir. But I think I said this maybe on our last last version of this episode. I've never seen the Maltese Falcon, and you got to be seeing this. This is a this is a bedrock of noir, and that I never got around to. So I put it at the top of the list, or top five of the list of gotta watch. So I can't. I'll see you on the other side.
Great choice, and it's definitely up there for a number of reasons beyond noir as well. Just it's a
Yeah.
great film.
Yeah.
Very nice. I am still going contemporary. I'm looking at movies that are like 2024 theatrical releases, and some of the ones I'm most excited about are Driveway Dolls. That's Ethan Cohen's new movie coming out this next year. So I'm pretty jazzed to check that one out.
Who's in that? Is anybody in that?
There are
Not-
yeah, there's
Not the pop
There's-
quiz you. I just
there's
I
a
just,
lot of they have a full
if it's Ethan
cast.
Cohen, it's a huge
Yeah.
cast. Like
It is.
But it's
yeah,
Ethan and not Joel.
That's right. Yeah, it's
Right,
it's Ethan and not Joel. But Pedro Pascal is in it. For sure, he's one that pops out. Margaret Qualley, Bill Camp, Matt Damon,
all right.
bunch of different peeps. But yeah, it's Ethan Cohen on his own. Well, not on his own, but without his brother.
Without Joel.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so he's directing it, and he and Trisha Cook wrote it. So
Nice.
looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Guess where I'm going though, guys? 70s.
Okay.
No way.
My next pick is, I think this was also on my last version, David, as well. Clint Eastwood's High Plains Drifter. It's
that
been
movie's
on my
great.
list forever. It's still on my list. I'm
You
gonna
haven't
make it
seen that?
happen this year. No,
You haven't
I've
seen
seen
that
so
one?
many of the others, just not that one.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, I feel like that one,
Huh.
for whatever reason, when I was a kid, was on one of the channels a lot. And I would see it and I would catch it in bits and pieces. And it wasn't until I got a lot older that I saw the whole thing through. But it's a good one. It's very good.
Had to
You'll
be
like it.
TBS movies for guys who like movies. They were all about Clint.
You want them? We've got them. Movies for guys who like movies. 10:05 Eastern tonight, only on the Superstation.
So
Most likely. Most likely.
Well, it's you guys are influencing John, you're influencing what I'm saying next, because it's also on my list, things I feel like I need to watch. I'm actually going to the 70s too. I'm actually going Clint Eastwood. I've never seen any of the Dirty Harry movies, so I got to kick things off with the original Dirty Harry of 1971, directed by Don Siegel, and I want to check out that whole Dirty Harry. I know there's 5 movies over like 20 years or 15, 18
it's like
years.
it's like 17 years or something. Yeah, it's like 71, I think, to 88.
And it's just sort of like because of, and not just because of the iconic lines of the original, but just like I haven't seen enough Clint Eastwood movies, and I don't know, cop movies are kind of cool to a certain degree, and I want to see Dirty Harry do what he's going to do. So I was going to present that later in my list, but you've influenced me to bring that up to the top. So that's another one, and also may have been on the last time we did this show. I don't know.
I've only seen the first 2. I've only seen Dirty Harry and Magnum Force, which
Nice.
both very interesting films from today's perspective.
I bet. Yeah. I'm sure I'm going to have a reaction to these,
You
these
will.
movies. What about you, Brent?
What about me? Next movie I'm looking forward to is a movie called, and there's very little about what this movie is actually about that I can find, but it's Bong Joon-ho's next movie called Mickey 17. Bong Joon-ho is the dude who directed Parasite. And so I'm very much looking forward to that. It's got like Robert Pattinson. There's a couple pretty well-known actors in there, but beyond that, like, it's difficult to really know much about it. So even on IMDb, I think it says something like plot details are being kept under wraps. So
it's top secret.
Very curious, but I'm also really excited to check that out.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well. His another incredible modern director. Okay, this next one for me, I remember being so excited when I first saw the trailers for it way back in 1992. It's the all-star cast in the film Sneakers. Never seen Sneakers.
No
Everybody
kidding.
loves Sneakers. I
You're
mean,
gonna
Sneakers
love
is
it.
great.
You're gonna
Oh my
love
goodness.
Sneakers. It's
I
so
mean,
great.
it's Redford, it's Dan Aykroyd, Ben Kingsley, River Phoenix, Sidney Poitier. Like it's an incredible cast. It's Phil Alden Robinson, pretty much still in range of Field of Dreams, and I'm very excited about it.
You will never drive on a road without listening to the sound it makes ever again the rest of your life.
Yeah. Oh man, I saw that in the theater. John.
Oh yeah, me too. It was
I
so
saw
good.
it in the theater. Fuck you.
Such a good movie.
I never
You
get
win.
to say that. I
David
saw a movie in
wins.
the theater that you didn't. I saw a Robert Redford movie in the theater that you
Yeah.
didn't see.
You
I'm the
win
best.
again.
I win the day. I win
You
the
win
movie.
2023.
I'm the movie fan of the year. That's awesome.
Movie
Great
fan
choice.
numero uno.
Let us know when you watch it. Maybe we should cover it on the show next year.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's part of why I'm watching it.
okay.
Oh, we should definitely put it on the list.
It's
Yeah.
so good. Anyway, good stuff. So for me, going back to, I was reminded very recently that I wanted to see this and didn't pop it in and have just not gotten around to it. And it's like, you get enthusiastic, like, oh yeah, definitely. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that. Another 70s movie. What? Zardos, Sean Connery,
Yes.
directed by John Boorman. Zardoz, excuse me.
I know
I've
it's a favorite of John's.
I want to see it. I need to understand what's happening. So
Really?
You-
See, I feel
we-
like
we
I
can't-
don't need to
we-
see it at all.
We can't talk about Zardoz until you see Zardoz.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like the Matrix. You don't know until you just have
Yeah.
to experience it, man.
You
don't
have
know
to
what it is.
experience not only Sean Connery's wardrobe, but the bananas everything that is that film. It's John Boorman. It's incredible.
Excellent. I'm in.
Excellent choice.
And then I'm sure Brent's got a classic 1970s movie all lined up.
No, I'll end with my one 1970s. I think it's 1970s movie, but we're not going to get there yet. I'm still sticking contemporary. Looking forward to the theatrical releases of 2024. And I'm interested in the continued lore of the John Wick universe, and I cannot wait to see Ballerina with Ana de Armas, amongst others, which is coming out shortly, I think early 2024. So gonna check that out. But it is in the same universe as John Wick. I think Keanu Reeves makes an appearance. It may be a prequel, it may not. I don't exactly know, but I'm down to check it out.
Oh, okay, excellent. Huh. The
I still
Wick
gotta watch
verse.
the John Wick films. Still
Dude.
gotta, yeah.
You're not missing anything.
Let me
Oh,
mute
oh.
you real quick, Munchak. Let's just John Wick movies are a lot of fun.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are.
For my last one, I've got one that is a modern film, also coming out in 2024. Also a film I may have had some sort of hand in, but it is
I bet this one's on my list too. Then Just crossed it off.
the next film in the Alien franchise. We're calling it Alien Romulus right now, but we'll not settled on the official title. But coming out August 2024 right now, written and directed by Fede Alvarez. I can't give away too much, but it was, and it's going to really blow people away. I think it's fantastic.
It's
agree
on
with
my
that.
list.
I mean,
I have it. I just crossed it off. It was definitely on my list, but I'm
It's
not
on
going to be
my-
redundant.
it's 1,000% on my runner-ups of the 2024, but I'm gonna see it either way. So in terms of anticipation, but that's only your fourth movie, right? You have one more.
No, that's. Oh wait, yes, that's. I
Okay.
do have one more. Sorry, that was my fourth, not my fifth.
I got
but
thrown
yeah.
off.
Anyway, it's. I can't give anything away about the plot, but it's really gonna, I think, re-spark all the fans who love the original films. So stay tuned for that, and really looking forward to it. David, what about you? What's your fourth?
Well, I'm excited for that, but I'm not. That's not on the list only because it's just like it's almost like a given them, and I see that. last two are going to be contemporary and coming out this 2024. And I'm a franchise lover, so A Quiet Place Day One, the prequel to the Quiet Place movies. I of course love the first one. It's very good, and then the second one takes it to the next level and continues the story so well that I would love to see another story in that universe of aliens invading and humans surviving under very specific circumstances. And looks like a great cast. And
Is Krasinski directing that one?
let me double check, but I think Krasinski, he definitely wrote it, right? But let me double check. Sorry, y'all. Michael Sarnowski directed. And there's multiple writers with Krasinski, Scott Beck, and Jeff Nichols. But you got Lupita, and you've got Alex Wolff and Djimon Hounsou. You got, so it's going to be an interesting cast, and it's a whole new take on the situation of that movie, and the fact that, like, I don't know, the fact that the sequel works so well, even though we got the first one and it had that conceit, the sequel picks up immediately and can manage to tell a compelling story in a different way. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with the next one. And I'm just a big fan of that. Just, sci-fi stuff is awesome, and aliens are cool. So
I'm looking forward to that one as well. I think that Krasinski did a great job getting that franchise where it is. And he leads into my next movie, because he's written and is directing another movie in 2024 called If, or Imaginary Friends, is what is what If is short for. But it's about a girl who goes through like some kind of difficult experience and starts seeing everybody's imaginary friends from when they were kids. It's kind of a comedy drama, but it's got everybody in it. So obviously his wife, Emily Blunt, is in it, but Ryan Reynolds is in it, Awkwafina, Matt Damon, Steve Carell, John Krasinski himself is in it, but even like Louis Gossett Jr. is in this movie. Like,
ooh, I'm there. I'm in.
Yeah, dude. Richard Jenkins, Vince Vaughn, Sam Rockwell, Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Like, I mean, it is a stacked cast. Jon Stewart. So
Louis Gossett Jr.
Louis, yeah, I said that. Louis Gossett
you
Jr.
did say
for
it.
sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I'm excited about this one. Like, I don't know that there's a whole lot out there on it yet, but I do like Krasinski. I think he does good work. I like Emily Blunt a lot. I think this cast is really, really stacked. So I'm excited to see what this is all about.
Oh, wow. I can't wait. I never even heard of this. This is going to be fantastic.
David's literally writing it down. He's writing
Write it down. If, short for imaginary friends.
All right. So for my real last pick, for real this time, not kidding, going back to 1989. Now, this is a film that I did technically see this, but I do not remember it at all, and I'm kind of ashamed. And it's one I probably should have watched again in film school, but didn't. Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing.
Yeah.
I know I saw it. I think I watched it. It's technically in my grandma collection, but I really don't remember it that well at all. So
you got to watch that, then Crooklyn, then you got to get on it, man.
I got to go through all the early Spike Lee films again, but so I'm really looking forward to it. It's I think a very important film, especially today. So I'm looking forward to that.
Huh.
Sweet. That's a good one.
Well, for my last movie, speaking of important films, something I've been just dying to see, and I just can't wait for it, will be Deadpool 3 with Ryan Reynolds. I cannot wait for the third installment with Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine after he was like, I am saying goodbye to Wolverine with Logan. Never going to do it. And Logan is... I don't know why people think Logan isn't a good movie, but it is a perfect ending for that character. Not a good movie? I know people who are very smart and intelligent and absolutely think it's the conceit of the movie is poor and it is not worthy of any kind of further classification. And like what you like, guys, but Logan's a great movie. There's no really denying it. And I can't wait to see Logan back in some iteration with one of my favorite actors of all time, Ryan Reynolds, and with one of my favorite characters. I was Deadpool got his own comic series when I was 16, written by Joe Kelly. And those first 34 issues are some of the funniest comics I've ever read with superheroes. And
Same. Totally agree.
just the best time I could have. I've been in tears. And I mean, Deadpool was around way before that comic series, but created by Rob Liefeld. And a big fan of that. Big fan of that. And if this is the third and final Deadpool with Ryan and bringing in Wolverine, and I'm sure we're gonna get crazy cameos that no one's gonna anticipate. If Deadpool 2 is any indication, I'm just waiting for that series to just. I'm very excited to see that series close out. So if it does indeed come out in 2024, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right. Well, I guess I'm it, right? This is my fifth pick. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
bring
doing
it home.
1979, folks.
Oh,
Yep, I'm taking it back. I promised. I made promises, so I'm going to deliver. I'm looking forward to seeing, and I know I'm going to be watching it because there's a future month in which we're going to be focusing on the very talented Sally Field, and I cannot wait to look and watch Norma Ray, which I have not seen, and I'm excited to check that out because I'm a fan of Sally Field. I think she's fantastic. She's been crushing it for a very long time. I remember watching Gidget as a kid, and so I know that this is one of the films that really, really kind of cemented her as kind of a household name and actress, even though she'd been doing it for years by this time. And so I'm really looking forward to checking this one out and just seeing her do her thing.
Yeah, and it was I actually saw it for the first time this year as well, and it blew me away, and it's a very fitting year for a movie about unionization and all of that,
for sure.
For what's gone on in the entertainment industry this year. But yeah, great choice, and we've got more coming next year where Sally Field is concerned. So
absolutely, gonna be
well.
Exciting.
That's great, guys. Those are great lists, and I'm just thankful that I get to hang out here with you guys, and however many times a month we do it. It's always just a pleasure to just talk about old movies, and then on the side we talk about, not on the air, we talk about modern stuff too. But
oh sure,
yeah, mostly David and I. John just only talks about movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
I listen.
He's like, I should see that one day in 30 years. I'll go check that out.
That's true. Yeah.
No, that's funny. Yeah, this is great, man. This podcast is really for me a huge passion. Like I really enjoy getting together with you guys, talking movies. This year has not been the easiest year in a lot of ways, but like knowing that we have this to kind of turn to and get together and talk through, this kind of stuff just really has been a huge help. So appreciate you guys. Definitely glad we're doing this. Glad we're going to continue doing it. Hope the listeners continue to enjoy it. But even if it was just the three of us recording for ourselves, I'd be down. So let's keep on keeping on.
Yeah, happy New Year, guys. I'm glad to be doing this for another year with you all, and we all have our tastes, and we love those crossover moments where we can just celebrate the things that we love, and then the other things to encourage and say, hey, listen, I think you'd like that, and all of that. And it's just fun doing this show and exploring. And for me, it's definitely an exploration in a different way than it is maybe for you, I feel like sometimes, for both of you. But so I'm glad to be along with the ride and enjoy what we do. And it's a lot of fun, and just happy to be here.
There really is nothing quite like talking about Megaforce for 2.5 hours.
Oh man, it gets me going every day. Like, where's my Megaforce block?
Ace Hunter, he always he's the man. And want to say a quick thank you to some of our friends who joined us this year. We always try to bring on some good, interesting, funny guest co-hosts, and thank you to those guys: Joe Setta, E.K. Wimmer, Blake Fischera, Michael Lander and Jared Burt, who all hopped on the podcast with us this year.
Yeah, always
Yeah,
great to have
They were great.
have
They
those
were
guys
great.
on.
Yeah.
And they'll all be back. So stay tuned.
We've got them kidnapped. They're locked in the basement. They can't go anywhere. We just pull them out
Yeah.
when we.
They're in the basement of the studio. We throw some food down there once in a while.
Very
not that
seldom.
often.
Seldom. They fight. They fight for the food.
Yeah. But all right, guys. Well, it's been a great 2023. Check out our lineup. Go back at www.ReconCinemation.com. Check out One False Move. Check out Alligator, Starman, Broadcast News. They're all there. Chaplin. Come on. Check them all out. A lot of fun this year. And we've got a lot to look forward to next year. And I can't wait to do it. So stay tuned. We'll be back in faster than you know it with our next new episode of ReconCinemation. And Happy New Year. Have a great rest of your 2023. We'll see you in 2024.
Happy New Year. Take care.
Be cool, Daddy-O.